welcome back to Wholehearted Homemaking. My name is Heather, and today I want to talk to you about preschool. Now, I know if you saw that title screen, you're thinking, Charlotte Mason preschool curriculum, this lady has gone off her rocker. No, I promise you I haven't. Charlotte Mason does talk about preschool. Actually, the whole first book is about ages 0 to 9. So if you've read Home Education, then you know that she doesn't mean do nothing for preschool. However, there is this mentality and misconception in a lot of Charlotte Mason's fears that those first 6 years are just hands off. We do nothing. And that comes a lot of times from this particular quote. In this time of extraordinary pressure, educational and social, perhaps a mother's first duty to her children is to secure for them a quiet growing time, a full 6 years of passive receptive life, the waking part of it spent for the most part out in the fresh air. A lot of people have taken that to mean that we do nothing with them for those first 6 years. However, if you continue reading her works, you realize that it's 100% not true. She wants you to work on certain things, but she doesn't want you to begin those formal lessons where you're sitting down, timing your lessons, making sure that they cover those specific book topics, okay? We're not going to sit down and do a major history lesson. We're not going to sit down and do any mapping or spelling or not even handwriting or reading. You might do some if your child is showing interest. But if they're not ready, you wouldn't push them towards it. And we know that because she gives us a list of attainments for up to age 6. So that would be a list of things she thinks that a child should be able to do by age 6. You may have seen also kindergarten readiness forms and things like that. It's along those lines. So I do have on the blog a little form here with her attainments written out in kind of modern translation because, we're not going to learn the history of England. We live in America. But this goes through several things. And I also provide a blank one and talk about in one of my blog posts how I used this for kindergarten one year. I actually made this as my kindergarten focus. Now I don't because, frankly, I have them in my head. And I know what I'm supposed to be aiming towards. But let me go over it for you if you're new to this. You're going to learn 6 poems and hymns, a parable, and a psalm, and to be able to recite those. You're going to learn the basic compass directions, boundaries of your home, and the geography of your homeland, body of water that's nearby, be able to narrate 3 Bible stories, 3 national history stories, 3 ancient world stories. Reading if they are able, math up to 10, being able to add and subtract using manipulatives, be able to describe 3 walks, 3 views, to be able to describe 12 wildflowers that grow in your area, and not only to be able to describe them and name them, but to collect them and to have a full knowledge of the leaf, the stem, the flower, everything. My kids don't ever get that, but yeah, that's her attainment. Then the same for trees. They should be familiar with 6 trees. And then 6 birds. They should know by name, color, and song. Yeah. So then you're going to have them be able to tell you about 3 animals that are common to your area or family pets. And then you want them to have some kind of life experience with like a butterfly life cycle. Maybe you raise butterflies, maybe you raise tadpoles, frogs, whatever. You're going to have a life cycle that they experience that with. You're going to have them do handiwork, and you're going to have them learn a hymn, a folk song or local song to your area, and then also a foreign language song. That's a lot before 6. And I don't know how you would accomplish that if you just did nothing with your kids and let them play all the time. Not that I'm against that, but if you're wanting to follow Charlotte Mason, you can't say she did nothing before age 6. She highly recommends doing those things, but we're not doing it in a formal sit-down style. And so that's what I have to share with you today. I have created a curriculum based on what I've done with my kids in the past and what I've learned of the many ways I've tried it before, and what I'm going to be doing with my 2 and 4-year-old this coming fall. Now, again, this is a 2 and a 4-year-old. So I'm not going to do any sit-down things, and I'm not even going to have weekly lessons. Now, my 4-year-old may sit in on our letter of the week just because she's showing an interest in letters, and I'm doing that with my 1st grader. She doesn't have to, though, but she probably will because that is her prerogative. It's an interest to her. However, everything else for my preschoolers will be done monthly, and that's why I have Wholehearted preschool. So I have this on the blog. I have it in my Teacher Pay Teacher store. And I walk you through some suggestions, which I'll go through here in a minute. But basically, you're going to fill out a form once a month of things you want to study. So you are going to have a poem or rhyme that you're going to learn. My 3-year-old, she'll be 4 in a couple weeks, really loves Hickory Dickory Dock. So that would have been, maybe I would have done Hickory Dickory Dock, which we obviously did at some point. And so we would just say it a couple times a week, maybe once, twice. And by the end of the month, she knows Hickory Dickory Dock. You could do that with a poem as well. You could have a rhyme and a poem if you're really extra, which sometimes I am. Over here, we're going to have literature and fairy tale. Now, I could have a literature and a fairy tale, or I could just have a literature book or just a fairy tale book. But I'm only going to put for the whole month. So an example that I put for fairy tales is to adopt a fairy tale for the month and go find all the varieties that you can at your library. If you don't have a library, you can look for them online. There are a lot of videos of people reading them. But like we have Cinderella. So we're going to read the different kinds of Cinderella that we can find at our store, our library. And then there are ones, the next month maybe we're going to do 3 Billy Goats Craft. So we're going to read several 3 Billy Goats Craft, whatever it may be. Literature, I'm just going to put down a picture book or two, and then we're going to read that over and over, because the repetition they really love. Now, that's not Charlotte Mason. She actually says no picture books, and I wholeheartedly disagree with her there. But maybe back in Victorian days, that wasn't the best option. Then we're going to go over here. This is the nature side. You have a tree, flower, bird. Just like we talked about in the attainments, we're going to adopt one for the month. So I'm going to maybe adopt maple this month. We're going to look at the whirligigs that are falling down. We're going to rub the bark with crayons and paper and learn about what the bark is like. We're going to collect a leaf if we can reach one. Maybe have some maple syrup and talk about it. We're just going to spend the month talking about that tree. Not do worksheets on it, not do a lot of things. We're going to collect a few samples to put in our nature journal. We're going to go visit it. We're going to see if we can find some in other places, maybe when we go to a park. It's just going to be, by the way, once or twice a week, touch on that subject. Same with the flower. We maybe do dandelions. They're popular right now. They're everywhere. And you maybe are going to go and you're going to blow on the seeds and talk about how the seeds fly, and you're going to watch them and try to catch them. Do whatever you want with them. You're going to look at the leaves, maybe talk about how you could actually eat them, maybe actually eat the dandelion leaves. My kids are not a fan when we have dandelions out, but it does work. You could blow bubbles with their stems, and then your child will remember that they're tubes. You can eat the petals actually on them. That's something you can do. You can make a picture with them. You can rub them across your skin. Whatever you want to do to try to help your child remember that flower. And you're just going to do that a couple times a week. You don't have to have a made-up lesson for it. Just think, okay, I need to talk about dandelions this week. What are we going to do? And it may be while you're outside, because remember, you do want to spend a lot of time outside. And then the same with birds. It's a little harder. Maybe set up a bird feeder. Get a book about that bird that you're going to learn about. Maybe get one of the bird books that I'll share here in a minute that have the calls so you can hear it. My kids love it. That's how they've learned all their birds. It's from our bird feeder and their bird books. All right, next is handicraft. Handicraft, something simple that you can do to make and give to someone else. We want to develop a skill or something useful. You can do a lot of other silly, fun crafts, and those are okay from time to time, but you don't want those to be your primary thing. You want to really be building a skill there. And beeswax candle wrapping, potato stamping. I have a whole list in there. You can look through it. Then I have over here, what do I have? Music. And music is a great topic. You saw on her list that she has the recitation of a hymn, singing those 3 songs, a hymn, what did she say? A hymn, a folk song, and a foreign language song. And in the packet, I share lots of different ways that you can touch on music. Maybe those are not the components of music you want your child to learn. Maybe you want them to study a different genre every month of music. Maybe one month you're going to talk about opera, and the next month you're going to talk about musicals, and then you're going to talk about jazz or whatever it may be. Kids love Celtic music, things like that we have focused on. Maybe you're going to do an instrument a month. Maybe you want your child to learn all the instruments, so you're going to go through those. Or maybe you're going to adopt a composer a month and just listen to that music when you're in the car or when you're cleaning up or cooking dinner. Whatever it may be, you just want to touch on music and give them those experiences. All right, I'm going to try to keep going. Habit, I am not great at. I actually have downloaded Leah Martin's from My Little Robins habits journal to try to hold my hand through this, because I am not good at focusing on it, and it's because I'm not great at habits and I'm not great at instilling them in my kids. And so I'm going to use her little packet to walk through and focus on a habit a month. I do include Charlotte Mason's list of habits in here if you want to pick and choose. She recommends starting with attention, obedience, and truthfulness. And frankly, if that's all my kids gathered in habits, then I would be fairly happy, because there are a lot of kids out there who don't have that. Next is math. Math you want to keep super simple at this age. It is, I've said it before and I'll say it again, do math with food. It's the easiest way. How many cookies do you have? I have 2 vanilla wafers. What happens if you eat 1? Now I have 1. What if I give you 2 more? Now I have 3. How many did you have total? I had 4. These are super simple math problems. Doing it with food, doing it with candy, doing it with flowers that you pick outside, any of those things. Also, shapes and colors fall under math, whatever those are called that you do in school. But they are a wonderful way. Play games, draw pictures, puzzles. You just want to make sure you don't neglect it, so you don't end up with like a 6-year-old who can't remember what a square is. We want to make sure we touch on those, and I think most parents do, but it's nice to have that reminder, because otherwise you keep going in, you're like, I forgot to teach my child that a diamond is a diamond and it is not a triangle. Take it from experience. And then at the very bottom, you will see I have life skills. Life skills are those things that you probably are already doing, but sometimes we need those reminders, because another personal example, I had a child make it to 8 who still didn't know how to tie her shoes. So life skills are probably not going to include tie your shoes for your 2-year-old, but maybe you're going to help them learn how to put their socks on, how to pull their pants up, how to zip their coat. You're going to do these basic life skills, and I give some examples in the packet, but it is by far not all the things. All right, so that is how you can use that particular worksheet, and I have one for every month, and it changes the heading, and then I also have a blank version if you like to just have one printout and copy it multiple times. That's fine too. So you can use this free resource. It's on my blog. It's in the Teacher Pay Teacher store to help you plan a super simple preschool curriculum. I say ages 2 to 4 because about 5 you're getting a little bit older and you want to do a few more things, but you could definitely do this with a 5-year-old as well. Because again, I am looking for big picture, what do I want them to know before their formal lessons? And that's, you can use the attainments, you can make your own attainments. Think about what your goal is for your child. So now I'm going to go subject by subject and share some of my favorite resources. At the end of the video, I have my #1 favorite resource for preschoolers. Right, the first thing we're going to start with is poems and rhymes. Now, the way I like to do it is have a rhyme for the month and then just daily read them a poem. But you could do it the opposite way. You could do it however you want. You could just do one. You don't have to do a poem and a rhyme. Do what you want. This is make your own thing. These are 2 nursery rhyme books that we love. This is actually mine from when I was a child. I absolutely love the Mother Goose nursery rhymes, and so do my kids. There are several Mother Goose versions. This one's great and stands the test of time. Lavender's Blue I actually learned from Nancy Kelly over at Sage Parnassus, and I absolutely love it. This particular one has just sweet little images. Some are colors, some are black and white, and some nursery rhymes you may not have heard of, so that's fun. And then poetry compilations there's a million of them. I have several posts about poetry on the blog. This particular one is fun. We also have Child's Garden of Verses by Gio Fujikawa, and he just has some beautiful, sweet little illustrations that my kids love. But these are, I do believe, some are black and white and some are color in this particular version, but my kids love them. My kids love poetry. We read it every day. They just love it. All right, then the next thing is fairy tales. If you cannot get a lot of fairy tales, you don't have a library access, and you're only going to buy one, I hate to recommend this, but Paul Galdone, some people love his artwork and some people hate it, so maybe you're on the side that hates it, but he has these little collections here, and then he also has some treasuries that you can get, and we have a treasury, and then we have a lot of the little ones as well, and they are just wonderful. We love all of these Paul Galdone ones. There are so many. So like I said a minute ago, when we do Cinderella, we will read this one, but we're also going to get the Egyptian Cinderella and the Persian Cinderella, and any other Cinderella spin-offs that we can find. And I usually just go ask my children's librarian, all right, show me the Cinderella stories, and they help me find all different kinds. We can find it from multiple cultures like I just shared, or we can just find different versions with different pictures. So like I should have grabbed it, it's hilarious. But for Goldilocks and the Three Bears, you can get a Paul Galdone one, but then there's also a Mo Willems one that is Goldilocks and the Three Dinosaurs, and it's hilarious. So I highly recommend that book, but it is a wonderful way to just give them a different example of what's going on. Little Red Hen is another really good one to do. I have a whole list of them in there, so check it out. The next part is literature. So you could do fairy tale and literature, or you could just pick one, right? We're doing our own thing. I have Read Aloud Family and Honey for a Child's Heart. And these are really great books. They have a lot to talk to you about and teach you, and I highly recommend reading them, as well as Jim Trelease's Reading Handbook. However, what's really awesome is at the back of the book, they have some really cool, they tell you different books, and there's a synopsis or summary in it. And so these are really great paper versions. You can see mine's a little marked up. And then you have, same with this. I don't know if I can't remember. Yeah, it's a very short summary in this one. But better yet, go to the websites. I list several on there. There are a lot of different Instagram, blog people who share book lists every month, who share book lists every subject topic. Just Google, you can find it. Read It Loud Revival is great. Brighter Day Press has a monthly list that's great, and she always has really good, clean suggestions. This New Day has several. There are lots of different places you can look for book lists, and so we just choose something popular, or we go to our library and we pick something. The point is to just make sure we make the habit of reading, because that's the worst thing. If we get to age 6 and they don't enjoy reading, that's when I feel like I failed. And I haven't gotten there yet. And sometimes learning to enjoy books will look different for you. When I was a teacher, I had a student who hated reading. He didn't want to do it. He didn't like sitting down to listen to read alouds. And so I tried a couple of different things. And what I ended up finding out, he just liked nonfiction. He wanted all the nonfiction in the world. And once I started getting nonfiction books to him and incorporating a nonfiction every day, he loved reading. He wanted to read all of the books. And so, maybe your kid doesn't love reading fairy tales. Maybe your child wants to read a book about spiders or whatever it is, or real life cowboys. That's what they may gravitate towards. So keep an open mind and know your child, and choose literature that they're going to enjoy. And nonfiction, it counts too, because remember, we're building readers. So like I said, I have all this in the packet, okay? There's tons of resources listed out for you. I didn't cover it all. I have some that I have experience with. Next up is nature, and you'll see I have it broken down. These are ones local to the Midwest. I live in Indiana, so if you don't live somewhere that there are walnut trees or violets, or I don't know, what's something that's more specific to our area. Maybe you don't have jewelweed. Don't study that plant. Find one that is near you. Now, I wanted to give you a couple of resources, and I don't have them all. One of the best things I have are these little plastic guides. They are like laminated. They're not the greatest pictures, okay? They're pretty, but they wouldn't be great for identifying, especially the flower one, which I can't find. The kids have moved somewhere because they love it. You can see this is kind of bent up. But these are wonderful because they are laminated, so you can take them out and you don't have to worry about them getting damaged too much. But also little hands can touch them, and it takes a long time for them to get damaged. I've had this for 7 years. So, this is pretty good since we use it almost daily. But this is a great way to help you learn about the different birds that are coming to your house, coming to your yard, that you see on your nature walks. Take it and put it in your backpack. My kids love using this thing. Another thing that we use for birds, like I said, they have ones of these for various states, maybe not every state. We have a flower one, and they also have a tree one, and they have several others. They're really great first resources. If your child's also trying to learn about birds, I cannot recommend these enough. Okay, this set of books is amazing. So they're board books, first of all, so great for little ones. But they also have these great pictures, little short blurbs. I never read the whole thing in one setting because they don't let me. But we'll read a small portion of it, or we'll read some of these facts. And then they're going to, okay, what is this? The thrush. So I'm going to find the thrush, and it's going to give me the sound. My kids love the... So these are the best. And actually, a tip also, my grandmother-in-law was diagnosed with dementia. And later in life, she loved this book because she loved to watch the birds. And so this was great for her too. There's also another one we have, but again, the kids have taken it and put it somewhere weird. I don't know. And it has like 132 birds, but you have to match the number. So it's a little harder for little hands, but you can then get like all the birds in your backyard. Then for trees, you could also get one of these guides. Or in the winter, they have these winter tree finders. And these are little ones can't do it very easily. You're going to have to walk through it with them, but they help you identify them just by the twigs and the bark. So that's great for trees. Also the leaves, obviously do the leaves. Another option for flowers is to get one of those guides or just find one local for your area, because the best thing is for you to just go and find the flower. One year I said, okay, we're going to look for trillium, and I couldn't find trillium anywhere. So that didn't work out so well. But when I see milkweed on the side of the road, I can be like, oh yeah, okay, we need to do milkweed. And so we'll come back and look at it. You also might want to watch seasonally with flowers, because you can't get all 12 flowers done in a month. So, and I don't have any flowers in the middle of winter, so I may need to collect some ahead of time. I don't know. I haven't really thought that one through. But you do want to have flowers, and you can do picture books. There are lots of coloring pages. Have them draw their own. If you can't find wildflowers, say in the winter, a lot of times what I'll do is I will get like a rose from the store, because I can get a rose pretty much any time of year here. But I can't get dandelions all year long, but I can get them in the spring and the fall. So you kind of have to do your research and know a little bit about that. Like I know we're going to do ironweed when it comes out and goldenrod this fall, because I can't find those in the winter or the spring or early summer. And so I kind of have that tucked away, that save that for then. And I might do dandelions and violets right now because they're out, but I'm not going to do milkweed because it's not blooming yet. And so I'm just going to store that away and kind of I've done my research and know which ones I'm looking for. Next thing is handicrafts. And I actually divided those up by seasons, and I put this on here. Hopefully one of these days I'll get pictures or videos showing you what handicrafts I do with my kids. I kind of just give them craft supplies and they make whatever they want. Let's just be honest. But I do like to try to sit down and teach my little ones a skill. However, I'll be honest, my big kids often teach my little kids skills. Beeswax rolling candles is a great one. Another one is, and I don't have it on there, but you can see this is just a little not a gem, but whatever. It's a little wire creation that I got at Hobby Lobby. And I just added it on with a finding to this earring that I bought that's already pre-made and everything. You can do stuff like that with your little kids, and they can use little tiny pliers to help bend. So you're going to get pincher grasp. You're going to develop those finger skills with it. You can also do beading and make earrings or bracelets. Just different things that I can then have them give as gifts. Also other handicrafts like clay modeling and things like that are useful skills that they can then take on later on and do harder projects. But right now it's mostly play and doing imprints and shaping. So those are things to think about. I have all that in there. Then I have the life skills, and like I said, I have this list on there. So you're gonna have cooking, you're gonna have things at home that you're gonna do, and then personal skills. Yeah, I don't think that needs explained. You know what to do. And then habits. So here is your list of habits. Like I said, I am using this Mother's Journal from Leah Martin at My Little Robins, and I literally just printed this. I've looked at it a couple times, but I just now printed it for the video. But she helps you work through it and gives you some tips and tricks for it, and then has like a little workbook for you on a spot to write down a prayer for your child and how to pray for them, in like a weekly summary, like how are you doing with it. And then so like the first one, you have obedience, and then she has kind of things to watch for. You're going to have some living books that might help you along the way. Inspiration for your child. So maybe a verse that you might have that your family memorizes. All kinds of wonderful things, because I need this hand holding. I tried doing laying down the rails and it did not work for me. It was hard for me to understand. I'm sure it works. All right, next up is math. And if you follow me on Instagram, you know I love talking about math, which is funny because I actually hate math. But I love math because it is so useful, and elementary math is the best. Preschool math is the best. So I highly recommend getting, these pattern blocks. You don't have to get the boards, but they do help. They're fun. They help them teach shape and color. They're fun. They can build with them. There's no end to the fun with that. Another thing is games. You can do all kinds of puzzles. You can do drawings with chalk, whatever you want. But games are a great way. So little kids love Colorama. This is so amazing. I'm actually really excited because it was out of, they weren't making it for a long time. I had to get this off eBay. They're making it again, and it is wonderful. It's the shapes and colors, and it has multiple ways you can play it so that it works for all ages. Another one is Count Your Chickens. This is like the most boring game in the world to me. My little ones love it, and it gets them counting. Hi-Ho Cheerio, Truth and Ladders, those kind of games. Uno is a great game. My 4-year-old, well, she'll be 4 in 2 weeks. She loves to play Uno. She calls it Ono. And that is a wonderful thing. All right, you made it. I know it was a longer video. I'm so sorry. You have made it to the end to see my 100% hands down, highly recommended thing. Actually, there were 2 because there was the bird book. I actually I think this might be number 1. Okay, I'm sorry. That might be number 1. But if you stuck around, my number 1 thing I want to recommend is the Story Orchestra. Now, if you haven't seen these books, you need to go get one because they're amazing. We have all of them except Grieg, I think, because the Hall of the Mountain King's kind of creepy, okay? It just is. Let's be honest. We love the music, but it was creepy with the ogre and everything. So we have the Magic Flute. We have Vivaldi's Seasons. We have, oh my goodness, let me see here, Swan Lake. We have the first one I got my kids, Carnival of Animals. So that is Camille Saint-Saëns. And of course, the Nutcracker. Now, what is so great about these books? Well, they tell the story because a lot of them are operas and plays. They tell the story. But then also, I hope this works and the battery's not dead, they have these little places. And my kids adore these. These are their favorite things in the world. They now can recognize, yes, my 5-year-old can recognize who the different composers are and what the songs are from because of these books. And also Little Einsteins, which we love, but mostly these books. They are so wonderful and they are a delight. They are paper, so you're gonna have to be careful with some like roughhousing little boys. Ask me how I know. But we absolutely love them. They tell the story shortly and succinctly, but they have beautiful pictures in it. Vivaldi's Season has similar kind of pictures, and then just a story that it's made up with, and it is just gorgeous. My kids love them. As you can see, this one is very well loved, but we love that. Then I also have from Story Orchestra the I Can Play book, and it has, when you open it up, music that they can actually then play. Oh, I think the battery went out on this. So then you have this one that is also the Story Orchestra, and it is great for somebody who's interested in playing piano or playing music because it starts them learning to recognize a little bit. And my kids have loved this. I got this for my daughter when she was eager to play piano but wasn't quite old enough to start, and that was great. Another one that I recommend if you have a child interested in instruments is Welcome to the Symphony, and then also Allegro. And I think there is another Allegro out there, but this is the one we have. My batteries are all shot on all these. I need to replace them all. But this tells the story of a little boy and his dream, and you have like a little bit about the composers that are in this one, and it goes through. The little boy is named Allegro, and he's having a dream. And you have all the different sounds here, and my kids love that because they recognize the different songs. So you have like For Elise, and you have Peer Gynt, The Morning Mood, New World Symphony by Dvorak. All those familiar songs to my kids because they watched Little Einsteins. I don't like Disney, but man, that Little Einsteins is informative. And so this is a great resource. So music books, and also Brighter Day Press has a list of music books for somebody who is interested in music. They're all picture books, and they tell a lot of biographical information about different composers and musicians. So don't miss music. I know it can be it can be overwhelming for somebody who is not musical, especially if you have family that is musical. My husband can pick up any instrument and play it. and I can't find a pitch to match to save my life, but I try. And so we do a lot of music, and like I said, my little ones just kind of do that along with us. We sing family hymns, we sing folk songs, and we have a composer, so they do that with us. I don't usually do something separate for them, but you could very easily say, I'm going to adopt an instrument for the month, and we're only going to learn about the violin this week. YouTube is filled with violinists. You can watch them play. You can watch 4-year-olds play violin and be shocked. Give them that experience to learn about different composers or different genres of music or different instruments, and I promise you, it may not fit Charlotte Mason's Attainments, but it will help your child to understand and appreciate music. All right, that is all I have. Thank you so much for watching. I just wanted to be a blessing to mamas who are out there seeking and searching for ways to bless their kids, to help them grow, but are overwhelmed by all the options, because I promise you, you don't need to be overwhelmed. Do something simple. Have a month dedicated to a topic, and then go with it. Go with that for the month. Don't worry and tie yourself down week by week, and then you feel behind and do something simple. I promise you, it will be okay. Maybe you don't even do all these categories. Shh, I won't tell anybody. But you just want to keep it simple, because the point is to help your children to grow and become better persons, and to help them have a love of learning. So I hope that was a blessing to you. If you have any questions, let me know. Lord willing, I will be back next week with my 4th graders curriculum, hopefully. If you have any questions, let me know. Send me a message over Instagram, over on the blog. There are lots of ways you can reach me, and they're down in the description box. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video and learn a little bit about how we're going to do preschool this year. Thank you so much for watching. Let us go forth and strive to serve the Lord and our families wholeheartedly.